I will never understand why people do brujeria on other people, but like especially when they do it to their own family. Okay, hold on, because I just put myself in a position where I'm like, okay, if I did brujeria on my sister, what would I do? Maybe I would make like her favorite pair of shoes disappear. Oh my god, I know. Anytime that she was watching the Bears play, the TV would just turn off randomly. Okay, but I could do those things without brujeria. I got a good one. Starbucks would be closed. Yeah, no, I'm not doing brujeria on anybody, bitch. The stories that we'd hear are like intense. They're fucking crazy. Just like the one I'm about to tell you. So this guy says that his family have always been big believers in like paranormal and witchcraft and all of that stuff. His father has always taught him that if good exists, then so does the bad. The entire family, there are 6 of them, and that his dad had a really good job and was doing really great in his career. His brother and sister-in-law had gotten pregnant, and it was gonna be the first grandkid in the family, so everybody was pretty excited. However, even though everyone was happy, they all realized that the dad's sister, their aunt, was not happy about it. This lady was never able to have children, and she just seemed like she was very upset and like envious of the situation. They did try to ignore her and keep that excitement of the baby coming. When the baby was born, they were all happy to know that they had a baby boy. Everything seemed to be going great, except for one night, something happened that his brother told his mom about. He tells his mom that he woke up around 3 in the morning and he noticed that his aunt was in the hallway in complete darkness, just staring into his bedroom where he slept with the baby and his wife. At first, he didn't think it was weird because he thought that maybe she was just looking for her dog that sometimes would escape her room and go all around the house. But that night, she didn't look like she was looking for the dog. She was just standing very still, and he noticed that she was saying words that he just couldn't understand. He thought to himself, like, let me get the flashlight on my phone to see what she was doing, but by the time he did that and went into the hallway, she was no longer there. As he's like trying to walk out, his foot accidentally hit something. He says that when he put the flashlight towards what it was like a glass with chilies and vinegar in it, including like black string with photos in there. Honestly, he wasn't the type of person that would be scared very easily, so he just grabbed that jar, went outside, and threw it in the trash. He really didn't give it that much importance, and neither did the mom whenever he was telling her what had happened. Some time passed, and honestly, the attention was more so on the baby's first birthday party. By that time, the aunt had stopped coming around. She no longer stayed in that house anymore. It was almost like she was giving herself distance from the family. A few days before the baby's first birthday party, they noticed that the baby had his hands really swollen, and so were his feet. They didn't think it was gonna be like a big deal. They thought maybe he had caught something and it was gonna pass and everything was gonna be okay. But a few days passed and the baby got worse. Realizing that the baby was not getting any better, they took the baby to the hospital, and at the hospital, the baby would not get better either. He also said that the doctors couldn't find an explanation as to why that was happening to the baby. The doctors did decide to keep the baby at the hospital just so that they can do other exams and things like that to figure out what was wrong. Days would pass and that baby was not getting any better, and they were terrified of losing their baby boy. They even took the baby to Veracruz to see some specialists, but they could not find a reason why this was happening either. After 3 weeks of not being able to figure out what was wrong, the doctors told the parents of the baby that they were just gonna have to take him home, and whatever happened was gonna happen, meaning they were taking their baby home to die. Everybody was heartbroken. They obviously didn't want this baby to pass away, but they were gonna take him home and be with him the entire time, whatever happened. On the way home, the mom actually bumped into this lady that she hadn't seen in such a long time. They knew this lady because she did some sort of like cleansing. She was also the person who would help ladies whenever they would give birth at home. In between tears, the mom started telling the lady about her grandbaby, and this lady looked very concerned and says, hey, maybe you need to find a different way of figuring it out. Maybe you should go see a brujo. Maybe there's something else going on. The grandmother, being very desperate, asked her if she knew anybody that could help, and the lady did. The next day, they went to this witch's home. The family ended up going with them as well, and the second this witch sees the baby, she starts speaking in a different language. Once she was finished, she looks at the baby's father and says, okay, you need to go grab this and this different kind of materials that she was gonna need. Without questioning her, he took off to get the things. When he returned with all the things, the witch had asked the mom of the baby to hold the baby, and she started boiling a lot of different ingredients together. She was putting all of the steam towards the baby's skin from head to toe. They explained how the baby started sweating, but the sweat was not normal. It almost felt like slime all over his body. They also explained that the smell that was coming from the skin, that slime, was disgusting. And the witch told the mom, like, don't let go of the baby even if it starts burning your own skin. The mom listened, and the baby started sweating so much more to the point where he was no longer swollen from head to toe. It was the first time that they had finally seen him look normal in like the weeks that everything started. For the first time ever, the baby was actually sleeping very peacefully. Everybody was in shock, and his parents were looking at each other just thinking what could have happened. When they were about to leave, the witch actually stopped the father and says, this was because of your sister, the aunt. She told him that her intention was to do bad to the baby's mom, but the brujeria landed on the baby. The guy says that days after everything was resolved, their aunt actually fell really sick. They noticed how her hair was falling out in chunks and that her health was just deteriorating until one day she passed away. Today, the baby is 14 years old, and he says how like his mom and grandmother were always on top of him, making sure that he never got sick. Anytime he ever got like a cold or a fever, they were all really worried that the thing had come back again. Thankfully, it didn't, but yeah, that was the way they found out that the aunt had done brujeria on the family. Honestly, it sounds like whatever she tried to do was sent right back to her and she passed away. Can you imagine if that poor baby had passed away? That shit is crazy, but what do you guys think?